Well, good morning. Welcome back. It's game week. Oh, come on, I got to get a little more excitement than that now. It's game week. Ready to roll. Really excited about what I'm hearing from our marketing and ticketing folks on where we're progressing with ticket sales. Man, I'm excited about the potential for a sellout in Scott Stadium. So, lot to be excited about. Before I get to any questions, I will give an update on Solomon Beebe. He's currently suspended indefinitely from competition. Still a member of our team. We take very seriously the responsibility that we have to represent the University of Virginia. So, out of respect for the legal process, I won't make any more comments related to his situation at this time.
With so much player movement in the sport now, how much more challenging is it to prepare for a season opener than maybe it was 5, 10 years ago?
Oh, it is challenging. I just got done talking with offense, defense, special teams, just about my thoughts on personnel, and it's difficult because there's a lot of guys that you know are good players, but you don't have enough film to validate it because they're moving from place to place, and tracking down that film is very difficult. So it does pose some additional challenges, but I think the biggest thing with any opener, you got to focus more on what you do, and then don't necessarily look at personnel and work on structures and things that you see throughout the course of camp. Beautiful thing about where we are from a team, what we do offensively is going to prepare our defense for pretty much anything that they're going to see, and then vice versa with the complexity and versatility of what we do on defense. It prepares our offense, but there is some challenges because you don't really get to I guess, scout out any tendencies because you may not have film on the personnel you're getting ready to go against.
You have a status update on Cam Robinson?
Yeah.
Is he good to go for Saturday?
Yeah, he'll be game time decision, but he's back in practice, moving around, pretty much doing everything. This will be a big week though as we progress. When you look at where his situation is, he's tracking ahead of schedule based off of what you tend to look at timing wise with an injury like his. But man, he's excited. He's moving around, but it'll be closer to game time. We got to get through this week. These next couple days are big days to evaluate because we'll be back in contact. We finished up last week with our live work on Wednesday of last week, and then we'll go with some contact today. But it'll be game time.
Coach back here.
There you
I read that your mantra this year is ABC 1, 2, 3 for this group. How did that come about this offseason, and how has the team, I guess, lived up to this year's mantra?
Yeah, it came about really just preparing the staff and the players for success, so to speak. You have a season like you had last year, and now it's a bunch of new challenges and obstacles and problems that you got to face. And so the ABC 1, 2, 3 is just keep it simple. Right. Let's just keep it simple. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. Really, let's get better at the little things. And so that's where the ABC came into play. And then obviously the words associated with that is attitude, belief, and connection. So if we control our attitude, right, it's going to generate the belief that we need, and then we got to be connected as a team because teams win. And then the 1, 2, 3 was just playing off of the simplicity. You always say ABC 1, 2, 3, but there's also a significance in the 3. There's only been 2 conference championship teams in school history, and so why not believe that this 2026 team can be the 3rd.
Coming into the fall camp and everything, wide receiver was the big question coming in. Now it's game week. How do you feel about that position, and who's kind of flashed more?
Yeah, I feel much better about the depth because we got guys back. I do have an update. Dylan Newton Short's been battling hamstrings, so I don't think he'll be available for this week. But the rest of the guys should, and then Isaiah Robinson will be down. He's still recovering from his offseason surgery. But the rest of the guys are available, ready to go. Rico has shown some flashes. Pleased with where Tylyric is in his progression. We know about Cam Courtney, and then it's good to get Day Deshaun Martin back out there and see him run around.
Jaquan Gibson, everyone
Yeah,
says
yeah.
he's the hardest worker in the wide receiver room. Is that something that you saw?
Yeah, and I probably should have brought him up, but really it's it's what you expect because of his work ethic, his leadership. You just expect to see him make plays, and so when he makes a play, it's more like routine. Some of the other guys, it's like, okay, that's a flash when you see them make a play, but he's very, very steady, and a lot of it is attributed to his work ethic.
How, if at all, has this team's collective age and experience manifested itself during training camp and your preparations for Saturday?
I think the biggest way that it's manifested is the consistency. I think the older guys know what it takes day in and day out, and so when you go out to practice, I think that's what shows up. Now, we won't know until we're battle tested if it's gonna be tried and true. But what you've seen is just the way that these guys show up. It's been very, very workmanlike on a daily basis, very consistent. Not a lot of ups and downs with this team, other than guys being banged up and not being in the lineup. But just in terms of the mentality, you see a more veteran type mentality that's trickling all the way down to the young guys on the roster.
You guys obviously made a lot of strides with the pass rush last year. Where do you feel that group is, and how many guys could feature in that rotation, especially when considering you got a quarterback like C.J. Bailey coming up?
Yes, we're gonna find out, especially with this quarterback we're getting ready to face and this offensive line that they have. But it's been fun because we got some experience on the offensive line, and their job is to protect the quarterback. And so you've seen with the things that we do defensively that we've been able to generate some pressure, both with a four-man rush and then also with some pressures from the second level. So I'm pleased with where we are now. It just has to translate. It may look different than what we had last year, but I think we also have a lot more depth. And so you said guys that we can feature in that situation. We all know about Fish, but I'm excited about Fobbs White. Also excited, about Nana and kind of the progression that he's been going through. And then I think Britton and Hammond and DHY have shown the ability to kind of push the pocket from the inside. So I'm anxious to see, what it's going to look like once we get out and we play against somebody else. Like right now it's kind of hard because we know what each other does, right? The guys up front know the calls from the opposite side of the ball. So sometimes it doesn't match up exactly how it would in the game, but I'm excited. And then I think we got the ability on the back end to maybe give us a little bit of flexibility. Once we develop that cohesion as a unit, then we can be a little bit more multiple and be creative with the pass rush.
Coach, season openers have a tendency, especially week 0, to be a little fugly, a little sloppy. Have you learned anything in your time to, obviously you want to be as prepared as you can be, but to mitigate some of that week 1 sloppiness?
I didn't know I was allowed to say that word. You said that word.
I said it. You didn't.
You said okay. I was just wondering because I knew I used to use that back in the day. I hadn't heard it in a while, but yeah. So we talked about it yesterday. Matter of fact, in our opening meeting of the week, just things that we want to avoid, and a lot of it is just the stuff you can control, right? Like aggression type mistakes you can live with, but the ones that are concentration type mistakes, those are the ones that you got to make sure that you stay away from. Those are the ones that add up and end up putting you in an adverse situation. So got to do a great job of managing like the emotion and the excitement to play, and make sure that we focus in on the little things, because you're exactly right. And tough thing about week 0 is that you don't have anybody the week before you to kind of point out. Like last year, I remember specifically there was some special teams snafus in the Stanford-Hawaii game that you could come in here and you can show to the team. This year, there's not as many of those. So we got to do a good job with the preparation this week as we get dialed in, channel the emotions so that we don't have a bunch of, like you said, just the stuff that doesn't look good to start the season.
So this year you just preach, don't be the goof realm
Yeah,
for somebody else.
Don't be the example. Like don't be the one that the coach comes in next week and says, "Hey, look at these guys from Virginia. We don't want to be like them." So, but that's key. And so far in our scrimmages, the guys have done a good job from a procedural standpoint. But also too, we got to make sure that when we get out there for real in the heat of battle, that we stay focused and pay attention to the little things.
And then the fact that Dave's in his 14th season, does that mitigate some of the mystery of what they're going to be, or in this era, it doesn't really matter?
I think in this era, you're more susceptible to having to adapt to your personnel because you haven't maybe necessarily developed your personnel in your system to fit your system. And the way you're recruiting, you're trying to find guys that fit what you do, but at the same time, man, you gotta get bodies in the chair, right? And so sometimes you may not get exactly what you might have gotten in recruiting because you're more specific. So one thing I know about Dave is he's going to do a phenomenal job with having his team ready to play. If you watch NC State over the years, man, they always are a team that gets off to a good start early in the season. And it's been that way since I can remember. So they'll be ready to play. They'll be well coached. He's also, shown over the years to kind of change things up. Defensively, in particular, so we're preparing for a lot of multiple different things that we could possibly see based off of our projection of their personnel, but we won't know until we get into the battle. And then offensively, I would anticipate that he's going to ride that Heisman hopeful that he has there. I wouldn't change up too much if I got that guy at quarterback.
Coach, you said last year you learned a lot about your team after that NC State game. Is there a way to kind of advance that process this week, or is that something that you felt was kind of special to last year?
Yeah, I hope we don't have to learn like we did last year, because that was a tough locker room. But again, this is a group that has a ton of potential, but they haven't performed together yet. So we gotta try and find out a lot about ourselves. Hopefully on the right side of the win-loss column. But win or lose, we're gonna learn a lot about who we are because this is our first time competing together.
How have you noticed some of your veterans of the program, some of your emotional leaders of the team, managing the emotions of game week and kind of keeping those in the right place, moving into game one, and passing on some of their knowledge to these younger players as they get ready for some of their first games?
Yeah, we still got several days before we play, and I think that yesterday was really the first day that it set in that it's game week, man, because you're in camp mode. These guys have been in camp. They've been together all day, every day for the last 20-plus days. And so in their minds, like, they're just trying to figure out what day it is. But now that school starts today, they're going to be out in the public. People are going to be talking about it more. That'll to answer your question, a lot of those emotions and things will come as we go through the course of the week. So as coaches, we got to do a great job of managing, right, the emotions as we practice as a coach, because we're excited too. Right, like we don't have any preseason games, and then man, it's almost here, and all the excitement about the potential for a sellout and national TV. We got to do a good job first and foremost, and then we call them the men at the table. That's our senior leadership group. The messaging from them is critical to make sure that they help guys that haven't been in this situation mentally get prepared.
Having faced CJ last year and having all this time to study him, what are the challenges of trying to contain him?
Whew. Man, I don't know if you can contain him. I think you just got to maybe hopefully minimize the impact that he has on the game. But going back and watching him, you realize just how good he really is. He's one of the best in the country, and he's multifaceted, right? He can beat you from the pocket with his arm. He can beat you outside the pocket with his arm. He can beat you running between the tackles with his legs, and he can beat you outside the pocket with his legs. And so, we got to do a great job of having rush lane integrity. Right, we can't give him opportunities to escape the pocket. We got to make sure that we disguise whatever we can disguise pre-snap, and not giving him the ability to really know exactly what he's going to get post-snap, and see if you can maybe throw off his timing a little bit. I know he's working with a new core of receivers. right? So they're just like us. They're trying to get to the game so they can build some chemistry, and hopefully we can be in position where we're supposed to be, so that we don't give him easy just indicators of what the coverage structure. Because if he knows what he's got, he's gonna get 1-2 and then find his check down, and he's gonna move the chains and be effective. So you got to kind of get him off the spot, get him outside the pocket, plaster to the receivers as they transition into their scramble drill, and then make him maybe pull it down and run it. And maybe that might be the only way you can contain him, but I don't really think you can. I think you just gotta do your job and hopefully minimize the impact and see, can you force a couple of drives to end in a punt, and then count on your offense and your special teams to play complementary football, and put you in a position at the end of the game to have a chance to win.
And what kind of camp did Twitty have, and what were your goals in trying to elevate his game this training camp?
First, Twitty came in really good position from a body standpoint. He's up over 250 pounds, which is really good for him. He's moving well. Thought he had a good camp from a leadership standpoint. You could really hear his voice amongst the team out at practice, and then also in the building. Had a solid camp from a production standpoint. It's kind of tough for those guys sometimes in camp because they got to do a lot of the dirty work, blocking to try and get ready for the season. So I anticipate once we get to game action, you'll see the passing aspect of his game really kick in for us.
You mentioned this group's considerable potential.
Mm.
Did you vote for him in the top 25 coaches poll?
Oh, for my team?
Yeah.
I did.
Good.
Yeah.
What number?
Oh, well, we were realistic. Where did we put him? I think we said 19. 19, yeah. I think we put him. I think we put him just inside the top 20.
Coach, you talked about Tyleric earlier, but there's some other guys here too. Cole Serber, Billy Kudelka, Kiki Adams, guys like that who have stayed in the program. Are they kind of assigned to you that the development side that you still want to have be part of this is progressing the way you had envisioned it could in this, era of movement?
Yes, definitely proud of those three guys that you referenced in Billy, Cole, and Kiki. All of them have made tremendous strides physically with their body, and then also from just an experience, knowledge standpoint. And all three of those guys are going to be in the rotation, if not at some point, competing for starting reps. So super proud of those guys, and they're important from a play standpoint, but then also from a cultural standpoint. And I just give an example in particular, Kiki. Kiki was a young man that came in and was trying to find his way his first year, and had some adversity off the field that kind of took precedence over maybe football at the time. But now during camp, you have opportunities for guys to get up and speak, and to see him stand in front of the team and listen to him articulate himself the way that he did, and the message that he gave to his teammates is extremely powerful. And then for him to go out and match it with the work ethic, and to see him making plays and being part of the rotation, that's why you do it. And so you do need development to be a big piece of your program from a actual play production standpoint, but more importantly from a cultural standpoint. And those guys all believe in the culture that we've established. They're a big part of establishing it, and they take pride in helping the other guys understand how we do things here at UVA.
Coach, cohesiveness is very important in a football program. And given the current state of college football and the roster changes, what would you say is something that you do to implement kind of making cohesiveness happen a little quicker than usual?
I think first and foremost, once the team is here in January and we got everybody that's a part of it, everybody's a Cavalier, right? It doesn't matter where you came from. Doesn't matter if you've been here 5 years or if you've been here 5 days, right? We're all Cavaliers, right? We're all part of the same team. And that's really for life, right? That's the way that I look at it. So I think it starts with me and how I view, these young men. Like, once they're here in this program, they're mine, right? And then I have a responsibility to make sure that the tenets of the program, we live up to those things to provide these guys with every resource and experience that they need to truly develop into champion young men. And then during fall camp in particular, we spend a lot of time getting to know each other. Right, and not just where'd you go to high school? What number did you wear? No, it's down to okay. Hey, I want to know about some of the adversities you had to overcome, some of the successes that you have. Who are the heroes in your life, so that you have an understanding of the guy next to you. Because football is a game of faith. I tell them all the time, and it's a game of faith because I'm trusting the guy to do his job next to me. I can't see what he's doing, but I'm trusting him to do it. And if he doesn't do his job, I can get seriously hurt. That's a game. That's a game of faith and a game of trust. And all 11 guys playing as one. So we take it to a deeper level and really trying to get to know not just the players but also the staff. And so we'll have staff share as well, so that you know exactly who the individual is that you're playing for, because you're going to need that. Because what's going to happen is a lot like life. Football's it's going to hit you hard, right? And it's going to hurt, and it's going to have you down on the ground, and you're not going to want to get up. And your body's going to be telling you, don't get up, right? It doesn't make sense. Why am I doing this? And then you look to your right and your left, and when you do see your teammate, then you're like, okay, all right, that's why I do it.
Yeah, there was a recent ESPN article kind of detailing Bo's journey through the transfer portal. What did it take for Bo to end up here? And also just what does it say about him that he kind of – I know a lot of guys go through that in the portal, but him to end up on the other side and kind of adjust well?
Yeah, I think for him, it just took finding that peace, right? And once you get to know Bo, and I'm learning more about him, but he's a very, very spiritual young man. And so, you hate that he's had to go through the process a couple of times, but it's his journey. So I think getting to a place of being at peace with that this is my journey and how I'm progressing forward, and then just finding a place where you can be content. And that's the objective of the program, is to create an environment where young men can be at peace with where they're at, feel valued, feel like they're going to be invested in holistically, so that they can go be the best version of themselves, and then in the process keep progressing towards the dreams that they have for their life.
This is kind of unique for you because you've had situations where you've gotten multiple years with quarterbacks, or last year you knew Chandler for a long time. What's that process of getting to know Bo?
Ooh, you want it to be organic, right? And so you try not to force yourself on somebody, and then vice versa. You don't try to force the kid to force himself on you. So I think just when you see moments and opportunities, you have those conversations, and then you also pay attention, right? And focus on the little things, and try to learn the body language and what it's telling you, right? Kind of the facial expressions. You listen when he's addressing others, right? So I think you got to be intentional with being present where your feet are, so you can catch those things about a young man that in other situations you got more time. So I think you got to be intentional with finding those moments to learn about a young man.
Stick with Bo, the fact that he wanted to go to Virginia Tech with James Franklin, was that something that people in the locker room knew? Was that an awkward kind of revelation when that comes out?
I think, to be honest with you, we're in a different era in college football, where I think the guys in the locker room probably have an understanding of how all that stuff goes, right? Maybe even better than the staff. I think you'd probably say the staff would be a little bit more, but at the same time, I learned it with me and my sister, right? So I went to Clemson, she went to Carolina, right? I loved her for 51 weeks out the year, right? And then I didn't hold that against her during those 51 weeks, right? I just didn't like her that 1 week when we played South Carolina, but. So I think you just learn how to adapt to it, and again, young people are more resilient a lot of times than adults, right? They have an ability to adapt quicker than we do. So I don't think it's been an issue. I haven't heard anything about it. Like I mean, it's kind of understood with the way this portal thing goes, and so he'll have an opportunity, right, to see who he's playing for when that game comes.
And then, would you like to see the ACC come out with a policy or a statement regarding guys who've been in the NFL and their eligibility to come back?
Yeah, I figured that question was coming. Man, I want to do what's best for college football, and I also want to do what's best for scholar athletes, right? And so, whatever the best thing is, that's what I want the ACC to do. I think the tough situation that we're in at this time is, and I use this saying with coaches, and I got it from my coach: you either coach it or you allow it. The tough part is we're allowing it. Right, there's adults that are allowing things to happen, right? I think we just need to stop allowing it. And so if it's a policy with the ACC, man, I'm fully in support of it. What I want is consistency, and then also to just thoughtful decisions to be made, kind of looking at the unintended consequences, right? Because it's really challenging, right? Because I got two guys that are here in the program, right, that we're told that they could come back and everything's good to go, and man, they're excited, and it's the right thing to do because of the change with the 5-year eligibility model, and then 2 weeks in they're told like you can't do it anymore, right? But then you got other guys over there doing it, and like it's hard, and they don't know what they don't know, right? And they're expecting the adults to set the direction for them. So if that's what it takes, then I'm with it. But at the same time, like, it's hard for the young people because the rules keep changing, right? And they change daily, and like they don't know, and they're gonna do what they're allowed to do, just like adults, right? So the adults are doing what they're allowed to do too. That create the circumstances that we're under. So I'm all in support of if they want to make a rule. I just hope that all of the A4 conferences come together, because it doesn't matter if one does it, right? If all four aren't on the same, are not on the same page, then you're going to kind of stay in the same state that we're in with constant change, because people, unfortunately, we're in a very highly competitive industry, a very lucrative industry, and man, people want to win. And the sad thing is, it's becoming more acceptable to do whatever it takes to win. And that's the sad part about it, because I don't believe that's the example that we really want to set for young people through athletics. We want to teach them through the game, how to really deal with the adversities in life. It's like if I could keep getting money transferred into my account, from somebody else, I think I would, right? And all of us would, right? Like you start to, you're like, hey, well, if it becomes more acceptable and socially normal, then people are gonna do it. But is it the right thing to do? Like, I'm kind of torn, because I want to do right by both sides, and right now it's hard to kind of get to that state, because we got so much change. Long answer. I don't know if I answered your question, but kind of my 2 cents.
At running back behind JaKale, do you anticipate using all four of those guys Saturday? How are you going to kind of work it at running back?
I just met with the offense, and I said, hey, look, as a former running back coach and a running back guy, I feel good with all of them playing. I don't have a problem with any of the guys playing and touching the ball and being in there in any situation that comes up in the game. So I think that's a luxury. Typically, you go into that situation. Well, I got a couple young guys that I'm not sure about, but Zay Davis has done everything we've asked him to do. He proved it last year in the bowl game that he can function at a high level in tough situations, and he's only gotten better this offseason. I mean, you watched the game last year. Noah hit some big runs for us. I think we all know what Peyton's capable of. Obviously, Solo's not available at this time. So all the rest of, and Zay Brown. Biggest thing on Zay is really his comfort level and his conditioning level. Coming off the injury, but he had some really tough physical big runs in this game last year. So I feel good with all of those guys playing. So it's hey, Keith, roll them, keep them fresh, change it up. So.
And then how big of a recruiting weekend is it for you guys?
Really big, really big. Probably the biggest one we've had since we've been here. I mean, it helps that we're the only show in town, right? But then also too, I think a lot of recruits are intrigued based off of what they've seen happen in the development of the program. It's national TV, and you're playing a very, very good opponent with some really, really good players. So it's a great opportunity for us to showcase. So the only thing we need now is just Scott Stadium to be sold out, and then it'd be a perfect recruiting weekend.
You mentioned a couple of the injuries that you're still waiting on, but like Corey Cosner, some of those other guys, how close are they to returning? Are they going to be available?
Yeah, I got excited. Corey Costner was in practice yesterday, flying around. I was like, whoa, okay, I hadn't seen that in a while. So he's getting close, right? So he's now back at a point where he's pretty close to full speed, and he's working his way back into practice. So I'm excited about that. Isaiah Robinson is getting close as well. Dylan, I don't know yet on that hamstring. It's just kind of been a recurring situation all off season for him. So we'll see there. Who else am I? We know Jack's down, so he's got collarbone, so he won't be ready to go. Oh, Adair's back in practice, so he's ready. He's ready to go. John Adair's back from the calf strain. I think most of the guys are getting healthy. Told you about Cam, will be game time. Secondary, I think we got J-Max good to go. He's been practicing all camp. No restrictions there, so he's cleared to go. Running back, we talked about. Quarterbacks are all good. We talked about the receivers, OL, DL. Everybody's and Zeke Larry is getting close. So Zeke Larry is now back, getting ready to turn loose into practice this week, which is ahead of schedule, based off of what we projected with the foot surgery. So we're actually kind of trending in the right direction with more guys starting to get healthy as we get ready to crank up.
And the final thing for me, Jacob Holmes and Kazim Moore, what's next for them and you? I know there's like a lot of different individual legal stuff. Is there like conversations going on, maybe them going into one of those? Like what's next for that?
Yeah, so Justin Spiros has handled most of that because he's more in the weeds of the legal aspects of all of that. I know those guys are desiring to play college football. There's not much I can do in this situation. A lot of that stuff has to be sorted out from a legal standpoint. In the conversations that I've been a part of, and those guys want to play and try and find a way, but I don't know exactly what that looks like for them individually right now. So I think they're exploring those options, and hopefully as we progress further in the week, they'll have more clarity. But at this time, it sucks because it's kind of limbo.